Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. So this is going to be the post-game show as Texas men's basketball heads to Lubbock. Chris Beard's return to Texas Tech. They lose 77 to 64. I have bullied in the title because physically I felt like this Texas team on the court, physically and psychologically, was bullied by Texas Tech. Times the game seemed close, but not as close. I felt like as things even seemed. As you guys are coming in here just to listen, please hit that like button. Help us grow this channel, this platform. I'm not, this isn't some crazy, we got to go through group therapy type loss. It's still the regular season. We will get to see Texas Tech again February 19th in Austin. More so just what do things look like down this stretch, this most difficult stretch of the Big 12 schedule for Texas. Now, want to give a quick shout out as well to BUSR, busr.com/fanatic. Go on there. So many awesome college basketball bets. I know a lot of people took the under tonight on Texas and Texas Tech. That didn't come through. A lot of people took the over on Alabama and Auburn. So that seemed to hit for a lot of folks. So shout out to busr.com/fanatic. Go check them out. The official sports book, the official sponsor, official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. In regards to tonight, I mean, obviously we had a lot of energy, and I want to thank everybody that showed up in the spaces, in the Twitter spaces that we did, the pregame show with Brad Kellner. If you guys aren't subscribed to his YouTube channel, please do. Shout out to BK. I'm not surprised, right? And I want to start here. Texas Tech is a very, very good basketball team, an excellent basketball team. And I think I think outside of the Chris Beard stuff, that's the story. Because to me, there's all the stuff and the drama and Chris Beard lied and all this type of stuff on the off the court aspect storyline. And then there's basketball, there's hoops, there's people that are on both teams who are not even involved in this. When you look at the Kevin O'Banners, the Bryson Williams, the Marcus Carrs, all these other dudes that were on different teams last season, right? So with the transfer portal aspect, you have the basketball team of how both of these teams are presently constructed. And starting with the basketball side of the house, Texas Tech is an excellent basketball team. An excellent basketball team. Bryson Williams, 6'8" forward, can play mid post, low post, face-up games on point. He's hitting threes. And, they were hot tonight from the three-point line. Emotions didn't seem to impact their shooting. They seemed to actually measure themselves and play with great intensity, but not get out of control. I felt like I saw that from Texas Tech's team tonight. O'Banner, now he had the Buffalo Wild Wings rims where some things would just hit and clank and then rim in. We understand that. But across the board, whether it's McCullough and his ability to slash, and he's a bigger guard, 6'5", 6'6", he's a bigger guard. Terrence Shannon didn't. I don't think Terrence Shannon did a whole lot tonight. Terrence Shannon only played 6 minutes. Yeah, Arms didn't do a whole lot, although he had 9 boards. But McCullough, his ability to slash, Davion Warren, their ability to slash, and O'Banner was obviously hot. Between O'Banner and Williams, which is essentially their front court, they end up going 7 for 9 from the three-point line. So offensively, those guys played well. But let me say this, because I'm going to get to our defense and all this type of stuff, and we bitch and moan about the Texas offense consistently. But I want to say this about Tech on the offensive side. Everybody wants to talk about the similarities between these teams and style of play and all those things. I think one of the biggest things we need to really consider here is Tech is much better than Texas right now offensively, but why, right? Not just personnel wise. Texas recruited a bunch of guys who have scored points in the past. We talked about this before the season, the amount of guys on this roster who are career double-digit scorers, right? PPG. Tech, when they move the basketball, they're moving with the expectation that once we get a look, somebody is squared up to score. They're not, shooting the ball with 3-4 seconds left in the shot clock. It's a much more aggressive approach. And you could tell on the Texas side of the house offensively, we were playing basketball in Idaho. We're 25, almost 30 feet away every single time trying to get into our sets. Our bigs are getting pushed around inside. I'll get to them in a second here. But the reluctance to take shots is confusing to me. I'm talking about, and this is something that reared its head today, even in the second half when we seem to get a little bit more juice. The reluctance to take shots, and not every look is going to be great. And I understand the concept in basketball at times of, passing up a good shot to get a great shot, blah, blah, blah. But we don't play with enough pace, in my opinion, to have that type of mindset. We don't. We intentionally slow the game down, and that's Chris Beard's style of play. So with that type of pace, we have these issues. We shoot 40% tonight, 26% from three, and we ended up getting to the free throw line a bit because they called a bunch of fouls at the end, but we actually did not get to the free throw line at all in the first half. And my primary ball handlers, Marcus Carr, in the first half, he hit some contested shots. But Timmy Allen, this was probably the worst game I've seen him play as a Texas Longhorn in regards to Timmy Allen. I was disappointed with what I saw from Trey Mitchell. Just a lack of, even Christian Bishop, who I like. I like all these guys, all right? And we're talking about tonight on the court what we saw in this environment. They got punked by Bryson Williams. They got punked by Silva and those guys going the extra mile after loose balls. We all love Andrew Jones. I didn't see the hustle, right? Quite frankly. And it's on tape. I'm not, it's not even trying to throw shade or take shots at anybody. The struggle to get after the basketball when it's on the ground, 50-50 balls. I mean, this was something that we had when I did the show during the Big 12 tournament last season, and we played Tech in the tournament, and it was all about, hey, we've got to, match their intensity and kind of that hustle of getting after those balls as 50-50 balls, getting ourselves extra possessions and kind of overcoming their intensity and their toughness. We got bullied in that aspect tonight, in my opinion. And you can see it. I mean, the crowd, the energy from everybody that was there, and I can't wait to read Keenan Womack's stuff on Orange Bloods and Joe Cook and all the guys, Joe Cook from Inside Texas, all the people that were there in person, to really have a very good understanding of the environment. It impacted Texas big time. Trey Mitchell fumbles the basketball on his first catch. Timmy Allen can't do anything around the cup. I mean, we're talking about guys nervous to catch the basketball, which leads me to the next thing, and I'm going to get to y'all's comments here in a second. On post-ups, these weak side doubles, how are we not seeing them? Like Mark Adams, that's their coverage. They're doubling on that every single time on the catch in the post. It didn't matter who the big was. It's not like it's Joel Embiid and we got to double him and force him to play make and make a pass. I don't understand how that adjustment's not made in anticipation. Whether it was Dessou, whether it's Trey Mitchell, whether even Timmy Allen, who seems to have a better knack and feel. I think he was just completely out of it from what I saw. Great thing is you got another opportunity to fix it, brother, moving forward, right? And we get to play these guys again, but the nerves hit them hard, and we just didn't have that juice. I mean, some guys played hard and well. I mean, Courtney Ramey kept us, from getting blown out with the off the catch threes, which is something I highlighted and try to drive home in the spaces in terms of Off the catch, he's actually pretty good, but you can't live on that. You can't live on the Marcus Carr contested jumpers. Devin Askew came into the game and gave us better energy on ball defense and was able to run the offense for a little bit, but you can't live on those things versus, as the crew at halftime mentioned, LaFonso Ellis and those guys, Tech was able to get easy stuff. Tech was able to get into their stuff, not stress about offense, not stress about shot selection. Wasn't really much of an issue for them. Not that they even played a perfect game, but they were able to get in their stuff pretty easily. Let me get to y'all's stuff here in the chat. If you're here in the chat, I see 43 people on. Hit that like button. Help us grow. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. All right. Derek Jackson. I'm gonna start up top. Struggling to find any positives from tonight. I think this was good stuff, good experience for Devin Askew. He's your young guy. I mean, there were moments where they have spurts where they have decent offensive sets. There's times where they showed fight. I want to see Marcus Carr play with that same level of aggressiveness, especially as he gets into some of his midi gut stuff or dribble pull up, however you want to call it, getting in his bag a little bit more. But not enough to where you feel great coming out of this. I think the bigger issue is not Tech and all the drama. Like, forget all that. Let's focus on ball for a second. The bigger issue is Texas is in jeopardy right now with their resume and being in position with the NCAA tournament. I'm not going to say making the tournament yet, but in terms of where they're seated, winning these games, I mean, this is a concern because it is a gauntlet coming up. So we lost another basketball game where there was a resume builder on the table. Our best win right now is Tennessee. That's the reality of the situation. So that's where I'm more concerned. It's not just, we lost the basketball game to Tech. Clearly, this game meant way more to Tech, and their kids on the floor fed into it, and they were able to control and manage their emotions and play with high intensity. But for us, for the sake of our season, this is problematic. Yeah, no, I agree. Victor Santiago, I appreciate the comment. You can see from tip-off, Tech wanted it more all night. Good teams overcome hostile environments. You know what? To that point, we, typically, especially in hooping, you're able to settle down. I expected them to be nervous from jump. I actually expected the Tech kids to be a little bit more amped, but they're good. They're a freaking good basketball team. And they settled themselves pretty quick. We didn't. All the way through. Even in the second half, we still look shooketh. Ready for baseball already, said Big Hulk. That's what happens when you got a lot of guys trying to gel for the first time playing with each other. Jones was a no-show. Ramey disappeared second half. The crowd affecting too much. Tech was hitting a lot of threes. Yeah, I mean, and Beard, you could see him trying to search for some shooting, especially with how aggressive Tech was doubling on the post, leaving some of those short corners open. There were short corner opportunities, and Jace Febris comes in, not ready for the moment. All the other guys that were taking off ball threes when they had some shots, they don't even really look like they're ready to hit shots. You know what I mean? In terms of having their feet squared up. You look at O'Banner, and those are bigs, by the way. Technically, they're bigs, right? Or they're four men. O'Banner and Bryson Williams, when they're catching the ball, whether it's up top at the top of the key or whatever, their feet, they're already squared up, ready to shoot if they need to. So they know if there's no coverage coming this way, this is probably a good a look we're going to get against this defensive set. Let's go ahead and put it up. That's one of the biggest differences. But whenever we are able to kick it or wherever we are able to move the ball across the floor, we still struggle to get knocked down those looks. And again, that goes to my point about us playing basketball from a mile away. By the way, Shaka with a much younger roster and a harder non-conference schedule at Marquez, San Marcos, Texas. Does his beard the savior? James, I know you wanted James, I know you wanted Royal Ivy, brother. I hear you. Um, Chris Beard is our head coach now. We got to support him. I'm not saying you're wrong or anything. I mean, Shaka's doing a great job at Marquette, but that's a situation where he's rejuvenated and is doing an awesome job at Marquette this season. He does. He is up there in the top of the country with the most top 25 wins at Marquette. You cannot debate that. But in regards to Texas and this Big 12 slate, we need to start racking up some wins against some of the top competition. Too many app open backdoor looks for Tech. So let's get into the defense. I'm glad this point is being made. We also get blown. We also started just getting destroyed off the dribble. And I think I see some people here mentioning this in the comments as well, where we're getting caught flat footed. One of the things you notice about the Tech defenders, McCullough in particular, who picks up 3/4 on the ball handlers, those guys move their feet, with intensity. They're very purposeful. They're moving laterally very well. They're constantly moving their feet, right? And a lot of our guys seem to get caught flat-footed a little too often. Not all the time. I didn't think we were outright terrible defensively, but it wasn't a good effort. And to that point, I believe our record now, we're 16-0 when we hold opponents under 60 points, which is very, very low in college basketball modern day, by the way. 16-0 below 60 points, and now 0-6 when we're over 60. That's a problem, too, when you consider Tech's offense is underrated. They're averaging, I think, in the low to mid 70s offensively per game. We don't hit that number consistently, especially against the good teams, and especially at the pace we play. We don't hit that number. We're not just consistently getting 70 or more points in college basketball games. We're not. We don't get to the free throw line enough. I see Rodolfo's point there too. Can you hear me at all? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Can you hear me now? EJ said yes. Okay, cool. I'm not sure what happened. The app said it restarted. So, I mean, none of my stuff can was unplugged. So I apologize for that. Um, anyway, let's get back on track here. I apologize for that. Bishop did Bishop look better tonight? I mean, Bishop. I need more physicality from Christian. I've seen it in past games. You just got to have a little bit more physicality when he's out there. I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. It's got to be more physicality out there. We have moments tonight, and Isaiah Collier tweeted this, and I retweeted it. You had moments tonight where there's 3, 4 guys around the cup and one tech guy, and he's able to either get the rebound or tip the ball in. If I'm the staff and we go through our film study, this can't be what we do. This isn't our brand, especially if you're not going to be an up tempo, exciting style of basketball, right? Like if you're going to pride yourself on we grind, we play defense, we match up, and all those type of things, and we can guard man to man, we can pick up all that type of stuff. That's cool, but you got to do the tough stuff. You got to do the dirty work stuff. And if you're not going to board, if you're not going to pick up and all those type of things, well, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, Texas fight, we had 0 free throws. 0. In the first half, I should say. We ended up with 19. Uh, if there was ever Travis Arnold said, we got punched in the mouth. There were moments of great team chemistry. I agree and disagree. I thought they fought. I mean, I didn't think they laid down the whole game, or else this is a 20-something point game. But the way that these teams play, and hopefully this makes sense when I say it, when you're down 7 in a game like this and the way it's paced, it really feels like you're down 15. It's not a normal, you know, it's not the same type of thing. And even like an NBA game where guys are so skilled where they can hit a couple threes, and next thing you know, you call timeout and the game's tied, right? And so I agree that they stick together, and they're not, there doesn't seem to be bickering. I do think there is accountability. We'll see what they say after the game, but um, I think they'll be disappointed with them, just the toughness aspect and not responding to that. The way you saw, when you saw Brock Cunningham get off the bus and he's got the horns up and the energy, right? Not responding to the hostile environment and hooping and shutting people up. That's something that some of the great teams do. They love going to those environments and shutting up fans. We seem to succumb to it. Yeah, he said Beard. Chris was throwing some stuff at the wall too. I mean, he threw Avery Benson in there uh, early in the first half, and I get it. He came from Tech, but you know, maybe you're trying to throw Texas Tech off, but those Texas Tech kids seem to be like, oh yeah, we know about him. He's with us, and didn't guard him. Seemed to be disrespectful. Generated more points off second chance. Yeah, that's part of their culture. 50-50 balls, no doubt, no doubt. No doubt about it. Said our defense is terrible. We play it mostly man, and they couldn't stop them. I don't think our defense is terrible. It was bad tonight. Overall, I mean, we're one of the best defenses in the country now. Part of that, but we got to also be honest with ourselves. Part of that is strength of opponent. our defensive rankings are probably a little bit inflated. The really, really good teams we've played, like Tech tonight, even the Gonzagas of the world, they've been able to carve us up. I said this before the season, still concerned about the size and the interior. That still seems to be an issue. And, we do have some players, as good as the system is and as, the accountability's gotten better. Andrew Jones isn't a great defender, right? Trey Mitchell's not a great defender. You still have guys out there that are going to struggle in certain matchups and get taken off the dribble. Even Timmy Allen, who I really like his old man game and what he typically brings to the table. If I'm the staff, that's kind of where I start. If I'm pinpointing a player that I need to activate, because yes, I tweeted this as well. I want to see Marcus Carr go back to Minnesota Carr, and there's a time and a place, and that's part of being a hooper, right? Is understanding when you got to distribute and get your teammates involved and run the offense versus, hey, I got to go ISO, I got to go in my bag like Kyrie, like Ja, and just not to say he's a player of that level, but in terms of you kind of carrying this thing and getting into your stuff, because that's the best way for us to score. Part of being a great player is understanding when to, you kind of be able to navigate that switch. And we needed Marcus to get to that a little earlier. However, he hasn't really been asked to do that since he's been at Texas. And I think he's another one that's struggling just with finding that offensive rhythm, just like I talked about Trey Mitchell down low. Also, a lot of this offense does run through Timmy Allen out of mid post and just in general as a point forward. And when Timmy is shook like that and playing so poorly, it makes it difficult on a lot of guys who are dependent upon him to make plays for them. No, Tech's a really good basketball team. Tech's a really good basketball team. Now their fan base and everybody else there, they wanted to treat this like the Super Bowl and Chris Beard's Judas and the worst person on earth. I mean, there's nothing more in the world that they wanted than this outcome. There's nothing more they wanted than this outcome. Yeah, Rodolfo, you get it. You get it. I mean, it's a time and a place. It's not the entire game we want them playing hero ball, so to speak, but there's times in the game where it's like, I got to take over. I got to be a little bit more selfish. Because the thing is, too, the other thing that you saw starting to happen with Marcus Carr is he was kind of like wrestling with it, and then they would double him, Tech would, or they would close out. Because the other thing, too, is like some of these guys on the short corner who aren't really threats, I can just play off of you, and now I'm trapping the guard and forcing him to pass to somebody else who doesn't want to make a play or somebody else who's reluctant to shoot. So it's actually pretty easy to guard Texas if you want to. If we're going to play like this, it's pretty easy to guard Texas. And then, maybe every now and again we might grab an offensive rebound, but we don't give ourselves second chance opportunities and crash the board the way you saw from Tech's end. Oh, 100% Morris would be the best scorer right now. 100%. But I mean, it's levels to this. Morris is going to be an NBA player. This is just hoping that he makes it all the way to Texas. But I do not disagree with that at all. Dylan Mitchell too. Timmy Allen did get doubled a lot. That was part of their game plan, but they were doubling all the bigs in the post, especially from the weak side. But Timmy got doubled early, and it threw him. But my thing though, Evan, is shouldn't he anticipate that? shouldn't Chris Beard anticipate that was the game plan? I didn't think that was some crazy new thing that Tech was coming up with to get him out of his stuff. I saw TCU try to do some of that stuff. Now TCU had a little bit bigger bodies height wise to throw out, and we were able to work around them, and we just cut really well in that game off the ball. We were working the baseline really well. Just people just moving. We seemed to be interested in playing basketball, like I said, in Idaho. We were just so far away from the basket. Didn't, you know, we're shot clock's winding down. We're taking 28 footers. I think they should have, but I don't think they were prepared for it. That's disappointing. To your point, they didn't look prepared for it. They looked like they were like, "Oh, wow." Thought they were gonna like. Here's the thing, too. Outside of the kid that the big one, number 4, that they got from, I think he came from Arizona, Bancho or whatever his name is. He's like really he's like 6'11" or whatever. And if you're a Tech fan in here, you can tell me if I'm tripping. Outside of that kid, everybody else about 6'6", 6'7". Now they're strong. Oh, Banner's strong. Bryson Williams is 6'8", and he's 240. But there's nobody. My point is, there's nobody out there where it's like, oh, they got these monsters in the paint patrolling stuff. Like they're not even as big. And I know it's a different type of bigs, but they're not as big as Drew Timmy or Chet Holmgren were. We talking about guys that are damn near 7 foot. Like we're talking about guys like McCullough who can guard almost 1 through 4 because he's the same height as a Timmy Allen, but he can also go out and switch on a guard and pick up a guard 3/4. Like they're all around the same type of size, but they just play hard. They play strong, intense, good technique. And we got guys of similar size, but we're not interested in that. I mean, the commentators, you even heard them comment. Was one time where Christian Bishop went up, and it's one thing to anticipate contact. It's another thing to not try to finish through contact. You're just going up. You're like, oh, I know somebody's going to swipe me. And you go up kind of soft. Whereas you're like, you know what? I'm going to go up through the contact. Doesn't matter if they rip through my arm. I'm trying to get to the cup. And if they foul me, they foul me. But I'm trying to get to the cup. I've seen that from our guys at points this season. I didn't see it today. Hey, Duke of Kansas walk into the environment and say, bet, watch this. Texas doesn't have that mentality. They just shrink in hostile environments and become frazzled. Well, when you want to become a major program, that's what you got to do. But you know what? When you go to a Duke and a Kansas, this is the difference with a blue blood in college basketball. You're the A ticket on every time you walk into a building of somebody else's. I remember I grew up in Maryland. So back when Maryland was in the ACC and Duke would come to Comcast with J.J. Redick and Jay Williams and Carlos Boozer and Mike Dunleavy Jr., it was like that type of environment that you saw in Lubbock. They hated them. Kids hated them. They used to talk trash about J.J. Redick's sister. Crazy stuff. But if you ever listen to like J.J. Redick's podcast or hear them talk about it, they expected that's what they signed up for when they went to those type of schools. Like they knew they were going to get hated. So it was almost like a smirk, like the bad guys are here, the villains are here. Texas, we're apparently still caught off guard that they would double our best offensive player. So that's where we're at, to give you an idea. Thoughts on Devon Campbell tomorrow? I think we sign him. I think he's going to be a Longhorn. That's my thoughts. It looks like it's really trending in our favor. But in terms of Texas hoops, Texas needs a real point guard. There will not be any real improvement for this team until it happens. I mean, I think Devin Askew can do it. and can develop into it. Now he also had some issues tonight too, but at least some of the guys off the ball were able to kind of get into their stuff a little bit more. And he could take care of some of that. And he does do a good job moving his feet defensively, and he's a little bit just quicker, better athlete than some of the other guys. So um, we obviously got Morris coming in next year's class, and we'll see. Chris Beard is still going to work the transfer portal as he always does. He has a year, 2-year mentality when it comes to building out his roster. I see a super chat here. Let me go ahead and address this. Juxtapose this loss to us winning by 1 point over Rick Barnes' team. OG Tank, this is actually a good point. So this is really kind of a carryover from the way we ended that Tennessee game. And somebody brought this up in the Twitter Spaces, and it may have been Burn Orange Nation. Shout out to Burn Orange Nation and for them joining the Spaces today. And I think it was them that brought up the point in regards to we would feel better as Texas fans coming into this game and going into this environment had we finished strong at home. Like we feel like almost we understand we won the game, but it felt like a loss. We understand we won the game, but when you finish on a 16-17-1 run and essentially your whole fate was determined by a 3-pointer that was missed by Tennessee, an excellent play that Rick Barnes and them ran on that last possession, we really could be having a different conversation right now. But that's those same issues we saw defensively. Again, dribble penetration, backdoor cuts, starting to get, stuff getting lazy a little bit. We started to see that happen in the Tennessee game at the end of the game. And it carried over, obviously, tonight in Lubbock. I appreciate the super chat. Shooters roll tonight. Told you had them Buffalo Wild Wings rims. Evan, thank you. I appreciate that. We might have something with Tran for the NCAA. So trans kids are busy these days. Getting into, his daughter is actually dancing now, and his son is still playing basketball actually himself. So Tran he's got his hands full, but we definitely for the big stuff for sure, and we'll have Tran on soon. Super Bowl stuff. He ain't going nowhere. Brother Tran's always around. He might be lurking in the chat. Texas fans, hold on. We got a Red Raiders comment. Let's see what he's saying here. If Texas fans actually thought they had a chance of winning tonight, it's just ridiculous. We will take the second game in Austin too. It'll be closer, but another dub for us. First off, Texas Raider 806. Congratulations to your team for winning. I know this meant the entire world to you guys. So, congratulations. I'm curious to see what the pregnancy rates are out of Lubbock, Texas 9 months from now. So congratulations to you and your people over there. And I'm just glad you guys, didn't throw bottles and a whole bunch of junk at our basketball coach, But congratulations on the win. We'll see you in Austin. Hopefully we'll have the Undertaker there or Mark Henry. If you guys are going to start bringing out Ric Flair and all this stuff, we might as well bring out our guns because you guys don't want to get into that competition with us. But congrats on the win, man. Year one is always the ground year for sure. But he's also a guy that builds up through the portal. I mean, this Texas is not devoid of talent, but we are chemistry wise, it is tough. Yeah, I touched on this a few minutes ago, Christopher. That was egregious. I mean, you guys. I mean, either not boxing out, get caught staring at God knows what, and just not even bouncy. Like the Tech guys are bouncy. They're constantly trying to keep their hands up, tip, do whatever they can to get their ball around the cup. So, um, but how often do we talk about that at Texas? Oh, if Jared Allen had stayed one more year, he would have been great on this team. Oh, if Jericho Sims or Kai Jones had stuck around on this team. I got a tweet earlier about Matt Coleman, or maybe it was a comment here. Matt Coleman would have been great on this team. That's college basketball, though. That's the business we're in now with NIL and all the top guys going G League. I feel like college basketball in a weird way may stabilize with all the rest of the kids, because tonight's game, they did make a good point, because I want to touch on the Big 12 here after I make this point. But tonight's game, most of the guys on both sides are pretty older guys. How many young guys? I think maybe Devin Askew was probably the youngest dude out there. Everybody else was juniors and seniors or super sophomores. I mean, it's something to consider. But the guys that can play at the NBA and get paid and don't have to go to school, they're going to bounce. We got a super chat from Kirk Jones. Let me go ahead and first off, Kirk Jones, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support of the channel. Guys, subscribe, support, whatever. Everything helps. I really appreciate it. Kirk Jones said, why does it feel like the 2021 football season is still in effect? Tired of losing, Steve. I wouldn't go that far. But we got to see how conference plays out, though. We did come into this season. So Kirk, kind of to the other side of this, we did come into this season as a top 10 team. And here we are. The game was faster than I thought, and I think that was on purpose, James, from Tech's perspective. I think Tech, we actually, well, first off, I think, forget that. I feel like we actually, in the first half, a lot of our buckets came on transition. Throw aheads, lead aheads, where we did move up. We didn't have to run 20, 30 seconds. So I did see a lot of that, on throw aheads in terms of pace. That seemed to go away, but our free throws did go up in the second half, but we weren't hitting, then they took away some of the, I think we hit like 4 threes in the first half and only 2 in the second. So that was an issue. Our pace is just, we haven't seen that change under Chris Beard in terms of the style he plays college basketball, though. But I agree, the pace has to pick up. Play too slow. No, Big 12 basketball is elite. That's facts. We didn't do as great as I thought we would in the SEC challenge, though. Let's be real about that. But that's one very small point of data. But if you think about it, like our top teams like Kansas and Baylor, they were disappointing in their SEC matchups. But again, that's one small data point. But overall, in terms of the perception amongst all the college basketball heads, KenPom rankings, all the stuff you look at, Big 12 is as good as any conference in America. And that's why Texas has the hardest remaining strength of schedule in the country as well. So right now, actually, that's a good question. Evan said, if we go 8-10 in conference play, what would that put us at? We're 5-4. So basically, if we go 3-6 to close, we would need to have a win against Baylor or Kansas on there, maybe 2 of those. Our resume is not strong enough. Even if we got to 19 wins and we don't have wins over any of those schools, that's a problem with the committee. I'm gonna tell you that right now. When you look at strength of schedule, because they're gonna look at this and say, "Who'd you beat? Tennessee, Stanford? Who did you beat?" And the rest of the, and then we have the results that we have for the rest of this. I think that's something that we would need to be careful with. Negative, yeah, yeah, zero, zero. Beard is not on the hot seat. You guys knock it off. Beard's not on the hot seat, especially that's the guy that everybody and their mom wanted. You got to, I mean, and what he's doing off the basketball court. I do think. I mean, if you here's the big thing. Let's say they get to they let's assume they make the NCAA tournament. If he gets to the second weekend, I mean, isn't that why everybody was out on Shaka? Right? Like Shaka had up and down regular seasons, but last season, I mean, we did blow out Kansas at Kansas, and we did win the Big 12 tournament. We lost to Abilene Christian in the first freaking round when everybody finally puts their eyeballs around come March. Chris Beard has been good in March historically. So if he, with all the runaround and we come in as a 7 or 8 seed and we somehow end up in the second weekend, all's forgiven amongst the fan base because that's what people want, I feel like. But it in terms of actually watching the team play, I do think there is something to be said for having this much offensive firepower that came into your school and they look so out of sorts offensively. That's not me personally, that's not basketball that I like and enjoy watching. And just some of the stuff that they run, if they just did what Tech does, and where it's like, we move the ball pretty quick, short corner, you're ready to shoot, fire. Everybody else crash, hit the board, defend, and when we have one person back to defend, sprint outs. It's kind of simple. Yeah, it was a double-edged sword, James, because I think they wanted to go light, or they didn't beef it up because they wanted to get this team to gel. But on the other side of it, you get nothing for your resume. And you're not battle tested when you go into conference play. And we weren't battle tested. That's just facts at this point. We got a comment over from Facebook. I want to see this here, Charles. To take a team and lead them from relative obscurity all the way to the national champion title game a few years ago is now saying confident Chris Beard should be revered by us Texas fans, not shunned. You guys, hey, this is an awesome comment. And one of actual rational, reasonable perspective. And you know what? For as much crap as I give Tech fans and those of you who, again, it was your Super Bowl tonight, congrats to you, ladies and gentlemen out there. But I have seen a lot of rational takes, more than I thought I would from Tech fans, and some people like my man here who have expressed a feeling of gratitude. So towards Coach Beard for what happened at their program and for making their program better. So nothing but respect to you for this comment. First class. Yes. Yes. Marcus Carr, Timmy Allen, all these people didn't come here to go to the NIT. That'd be a letdown. If we're going to blow up Shaka for going to the NIT, then we got to blow up that's not when you start the season ranked in the top 10. Yes, that would be a letdown. Yeah, and I want the good thing is they get to play them again in about 3 weeks. Granted, it'll be at home. But I'm gonna tell you this: when they come to Austin, Tech fans gonna be deep in there. Now it's not gonna be. I think our basketball community is engaged right now because people wanted Chris Beard. People are excited. People are engaged. However, um, these Tech fans, again, a lot of you guys have friends and family members who've been talking about this and been bothering you about it. I know I have. I'm a victim of this. Many of you have been bothered by this, by these people for months, and they won't go away, right? Now they're even gonna have more ammunition because they know they're good. They physically and psychologically bullied us, and now they get to come to Austin. They're gonna show up. It's not now. I don't think it'll be what they think it is because Chris Beard is working on that end and Chris Del Conte too and all that. But the point is, we will get to see this basketball team play again against this Texas Tech group, and I think that's another test for them. Lando, what's good, brother? Yeah, just enough. If your bigs aren't really willing to embrace contact on the block and finish through it, yeah, too many guys. It's like they know they're gonna get you got to go through contact. That's just it's a mentality. Even Silva on Texas Tech, that brother's not skilled at all, uh, but he's tough. Even grabbing rebounds, you don't see Texas Tech. You don't see balls just flying out of their hands, on contact. Like there was one ball that Christian Bishop actually got where he reached back and grabbed it. I was like, I need to see more of that from you, brother. I know it's there. I know you got it in you. I know you got it in you. No, I'm well aware uh, of what could be on the other side for Morris. I mean, look how hard we had to fight for Greg Brown. Uh, it was us versus the G League. So I'm well aware, and I'm gonna tell y'all this for those of you who are really really into the basketball community and understand who's out there. There's a kid in the G League right now who's 17 years old. He's not even draft eligible for this draft. I believe he's eligible for 2023. Scoot Henderson. If y'all don't know about him, look him up. Scoot Henderson, who's hooping in the G League already as a 17-year-old guard. Like getting paid, I think he gets paid like $1 million a year or something like that, and it's already connected in the NBA, playing against pros, former NBA guys, and hooping and playing well. Like that's what Texas is going to compete against if you're going after the creme de la creme top 10 guys. You're not just competing against the Duke and the Kentuckys and the Kansases. What did you think they were going to act like? What did you think they were going to act like? Yeah, if y'all don't know about Scoot Henderson, go look him up. Go look him up. He's 17 years old. He would be Victor, correct me if I'm wrong. Scoot would only be a junior in high school, but he's already in the G League. Think the youngest G League player ever. Kind of, basically like a LaMelo Ball type route, but not going overseas. But the Morrises of the world, because Morris is a top 10 player in his class, that's an option for some of these kids. But we have NIL now too, so we got to consider that. Got to consider that. Yeah, I think he's making around $1 million right now already. As if leave us alone, bruh. Leave us alone, man. Leave us alone. We're just talking. I'm gonna go for a few more minutes. It's midnight and getting late. So 72 here in the chat though. So hit that like button if you're still on here, late night gang, and tell a friend. Share the content. We had a great for those of you. I know James was in there. For those of you who came to hang out with us in the pregame spaces, that was a lot of fun. Hopefully, we can do that more before some big games, where we get to just be excited as fans, talk with each other, and I think that's really really cool. Don't get it mistaken. Texas pockets run deep. Sure do. How did Mark Adams recruit better players than Beard? You know what's funny? I'm not going to say that full blown outright, but um, I mean, let's be honest. O'Banner was at Oral Roberts. It wasn't Matt. Is Max Aitmus still there? Where's Max Aitmus? But Oral Roberts, I'm sorry. Uh, O'Banner was over there and he was awesome. I remember him in the tournament last year and I was really impressed. And I thought that was a good pickup for them. I really wanted Bryson Williams out of UTEP. I liked his game. I thought, and this is a kid, he put up 33 on Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse, so he can play. He may not be an NBA player because of size or whatever, but he's very skilled. He didn't score crazy against us tonight because he didn't have to. He didn't go crazy offensively against Mississippi State either. But when they needed buckets, Bryson Williams is a good basketball player. Really, really good basketball player. I'm glad I could start putting some people on to Scoot Henderson. that guy's gonna be a problem for all the basketball heads. That guy's gonna be a problem. We're going way off topic, but you got to fight for your right to party, man. And Brian Flores was fed up, in my opinion. Unfortunately, some of us who are, however you want to say it, people of color, minorities, whatever, there are things we go through in this country that, sometimes happen. And in the NFL, it's been documented what some of those issues have been. And Brian Flores said enough's enough. I don't think he'll coach in the NFL again. I don't know how the owners or whoever, especially when you put what he put in the lawsuit, I don't know how they'll trust him, but I'll make separate content off that. I do want to stick to basketball because it's a very, very hot button topic. But I respect the hell out of Brian Flores for doing what he felt was right and necessary to do. But back to basketball. If Brock Cunningham is our best rebounder, does that bother you? I see what you're saying, bro. I see what you're saying, and I'll even go a little further this way too, right? I love what he brings to the table, and he's an animal. But in games like this, I think you guys start to see like where skill level really matters, where you need people that can dribble, pass, shoot. Again, like I said, you need people that can dribble, pass, shoot. When you get to a certain level of basketball, like Brock Cunningham against most of the people we play, can play a lot, and he's great for us, and he gives us so much. And he embodies Texas, right? And he's legacy kid. He loves And in college basketball too, those type of guys can bring out a certain juice. But when we're already a team that's offensively inept and we play at the pace we play, it does make it challenging. And I know it even gives us on the offensive boards, which we need more of. But it's against a team like Tech, where they're a little bit more skilled and they hustle just as much as he does. All then he fouls out today and doesn't really get to stand out like he's had in past games, like he did against TCU, because those Tech kids are going at the same pace that he is. Now it doesn't stand out. So something to consider. Now I appreciate you, Kirk, and thank you for your donation earlier. Thank you, thank you, thank you. James, I see you're a basketball head. So I'll definitely be tagging you in future stuff. We'll go for a few more minutes here. Y'all are asking great questions and let's chat here. Amos is I don't know if he'll play in the NBA because he's so small, and I don't think he's hyper explosive, but he is such a hooper. I love the way he moves around the court and gets buckets. Such a good hooper, Max Amos for the basketball heads. Oh, I have my thoughts on the refs. I see some of our fans talking about the refs. If the only people that are talking about the refs are the people that are salty about the loss and are going to blame the officials no matter what, are the people who only look at box scores and look at the free throw discrepancy. I had no issue with how this game was officiated today because Texas didn't even play or challenge anything. And I actually thought, quite frankly, that the refs kept stuff in check because it didn't get out of hand as much as I thought it could have. And there were times where I think guys were getting a little chirpy, coaches are getting a little chirpy, and the refs. I wish more refs acted this way, where they had some discretion with the people on the floor, understanding and being aware of the situation. Hey, we don't want to get in the middle of this stuff. We're going to let them play. But at the same token, we got to kind of de-escalate some things and keep things calm without just blowing our whistle and teeing people up. I thought they did a very, very good job of managing that. If you're on here complaining about free throw calls, this isn't the channel for you. You are not going to get calls when you're shooting the basketball 28 feet away on a consistent basis and you're running your offense far away and you have no physicality and then when we do drive, like Askew drives, he has an easy floater or even can maybe lay it in over the defender, but he chooses to try to leave his feet and make a pass. Like, no, I'm not going to reward you with stuff like that as an official. I don't think they should. So I don't have an issue at all with how the game was officiated today, personally. Not when we're not aggressive. I agree with this. I think that's a good rational take. Jonathan Miller. I would love to have him on my basketball team. He can fill it up. Jeremy, you're a Tech fan? I've seen you here before. I didn't realize. I don't know why I didn't realize you're a Tech fan. Oh no, never mind. I'm sorry, I misread this. I'm sorry. I don't think Jeremy's a Tech fan. I've seen. My reading comprehension sucks sometimes. I apologize. Yeah, and Paulo's what 6'10", 250, 255. And what do I always talk about? Dribble, pass, shoot. Banchero, the only issue to his game is that he kind of has that Cade Cunningham thing sometimes where I think he's more competitive than Cade actually is, but sometimes where he doesn't want to just take over. But when he gets in it, Paulo's an amazing basketball prospect. This is actually a really, really good draft class, in my opinion. Really, really good draft class. I love the way he hoops. He can pass. His what I love about the Duke, this Paulo Banchero guy, he has a very good mid-range game. Very good mid. He's going to be able to score in the NBA right away because his mid-range game is excellent. Excellent mid-range game. And when he can dribble, he can find teammates and play make. I think he's averaging around 3 or 4 assists a game. Very, very good out of mid post. Can turn around pretty much over both shoulders and shoot fadeaways, all that type of stuff. So let's see. Okay, cool. Cool. Strength coach. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming in and chiming in, man. I've seen you before, but I couldn't recall. It's misreading some of this stuff. Cortland's funny. So you're a Tech fan. Oh man, we assault tonight. You don't think Texas is gonna make it? Man, are we down bad like that now? It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. We can't talk about that yet. We got to worry about this team. We can't talk about this yet. We don't even know what's going on. Yeah, I think that lineup there in the backcourt, even on defense, I think that helped them with some of the switching and stuff. Because look, I love AJ1. Andrew Jones, what he's done to continue his basketball career, the whole bit. I just think that this has been a bit of a struggle for him because there's not enough playmaking opportunity. Andrew Jones to me is a guy that just needs the basketball too. And I don't see enough playmaking opportunities for him to really get that rhythm to where he can get all the way into his bag like we've seen. Andrew's still a little inconsistent offensively, but that's what he brings to the table because defensively, he just doesn't have those same instincts and movement. And he's never really been a defensive guy, in my opinion. I think Andrew has always been a guy who's, they move him to the bench to come off the bench and kind of give us a spark. And I think he responded at times, but you don't see what the difference with Andrew and even Courtney Ramey. Courtney Ramey has developed very well off the catch. And he's probably our best catch and shoot guy at this point, even more consistent than Jace Febris, who's supposed to be, a straight up shooter, but he's struggling. So Courtney Ramey is probably our best, to me, just straight up catch and shoot type person. And Andrew Jones is not a great shooter off the catch the way Courtney Ramey is. He's more of a streaky shooter, in my opinion. No, it's realistic. I think we're going to catch one of these teams and hopefully split some of these. That's my hope. It's not like Chris Beard doesn't know these schools. He's been in the conference this whole time. The issue, guys, is we drop games we weren't supposed to drop. You can't lose to Kansas State at home. Can't drop the Oklahoma State game. We lost some games we weren't supposed to lose. So our margin is a little bit lower than what it should be. But but the only way you fix that margin is you go start beating teams as an underdog. And that's what they're going to have to do to kind of fix where they are in the standings right now. to assure themselves a spot. Damn, we still got 62 in here. Y'all are awesome. And if you haven't, you know what attendance is. Hit that like button. Shout out to Providence. I bet them tonight. Um, I think it was Providence plus 2.5. I bet them over St. John's tonight. That was my one big. I always do a bigger financial bet. Um, and then a couple, smaller things we throw some money on. The big one I did tonight was on Providence, and they came through. So we did have a good night. Shout out to BUSR, the sports book that I use personally, the official betting partner, whole, everything that they provide for this channel. We will have some Super Bowl contests coming. We will have some content coming on National Signing Day tomorrow. Officially, hopefully Campbell's coming through on the college football side. We'll have some content with the with our good friends from the Horns Down podcast, the OU fellas, to talk about Caleb Williams finally committing to USC. So we'll have some content there, and have some stuff in the works with some now former Texas football players. To wrap it up with them as well as they move on to the NFL, and some guys that are already in the NFL. So a lot of cool stuff going on that we'll be able to get squared away for you guys. Let me see some of these comments. Yeah, they did. I remember that point in the game, and I remember looking at my wife and even telling her I felt like they were overwhelmed. Graham, appreciate your comment. Chris Berry was never the basketball mind. It was always Adams. He put himself on top of the pyramid. Graham, you sound like a Tech fan. So if you are, congratulations, number one. Number two, was that your if you are a Tech fan, was that your energy the whole time? Please tell me in the comments. Or y'all because I don't ever remember hearing a single Tech fan talk about Mark Adams until Chris Beard left. I'm not trying to even troll or anything. I just want to ask a question straight up. So please address that in the comments. This is a point I forgot to mention. Thank you, Lando, for reminding me. The broadcast team wasn't terrible, but we didn't get the A team. Like normally, like Fran and those guys, right? For Big 12 games. But the young guys they had out there, I don't know their name, like Chris Spatola or whatever. They weren't terrible, but this type of game, we're not really paying a whole lot of attention to the broadcast per se. Games on ESPN2. Games not on Big Monday. Or not on Saturday night. One of the two. Now, granted, we had Tennessee come in Saturday night. So Big Monday would have worked. Or next Saturday would have worked. And ESPN, I mean, whether you're a Tech fan or a Texas fan, you have a camera go out. I mean, this is as big a game in college basketball. College basketball, I will say this, I grew up as a college basketball fan. I am a college basketball fan. I love college basketball. And for them to have this type of moment where people all over the country are talking about this game, that feel the hatred and the vitriol and all the stuff that's going on, for them not to recognize the significance of that and putting a broadcast together that allows the moment to feel big is frustrating. Like I was talking to Kieran the other day, totally unrelated. We were talking about boxing, and when we grew up, HBO, I hate to say this, we used to have HBO boxing. And one of the things that was cool about, the Larry Merchants of the world, the Jim Lampleys, was they would make the event feel huge. Like HBO boxing pay-per-view, there was nothing like that. They were so good at making that feel huge. And I've seen college basketball nights like growing up on the East Coast. Duke, North Carolina is one of the biggest rivalries in all of sports, and how serious that was. They always made the broadcast feel just larger than life. And for this to be, kind of an ESPN2, like they made this shit like it was who's old boy that passed away for Tech that used to be a problem back in the day. Um like when we had like Damian James and they had Andre Emmett or whatever. Like they made it feel like it was that. This was not that. Okay? This was not that. This was a really big deal for college sports, and um bag was definitely fumbled in my opinion. I wanted to see if that guy answered my question. He didn't come back about if Tech fans were talking about Mark Adams as the mastermind before Andre Emmett. Yeah, yeah. Jeremy knew who I was talking about. Yeah, it wasn't. Shout out to Andre Emmett. I think he was an All American at Tech, but it wasn't. It wasn't like those type of games back in the day. Come on, it wasn't like that. Hmm, let's see. We didn't get the B team. we didn't. We didn't even get the B team. Man, we didn't. Man, they treated this like it was Mac action on ESPNU. No, no. I wasn't even trying to be mean or anything. I just wanted to know, was that their energy? I never heard about Mark Adams before. I'm not saying that they didn't discuss it internally, but they never like it. They were always front and center about Chris Beard. I know I'm not tripping on this. I never heard them saying, Chris Beard's not that great. Mark Adams is the real mastermind here. Yeah, Drew. I didn't. Drew, I love you, but buddy, but the rest were fine today, in my opinion. They were fine. They were fine, and I agree with Cortland. It was a very very tough game for them to navigate under those circumstances. I didn't have a problem with it. I know we're not going to agree on every call and whatnot, but we didn't earn any type of calls. The way I've always learned how to play basketball, you got to. I mean, you can't get punked like that and then shoot from so far away and then expect to get calls. Like you're just not going to get them. Uh, you know, it'd be different if we were going to the cup. Like if Marcus Carr, I'll put it this way: if Marcus Carr was putting his head down and getting to the rack and blowing by his man, and then the help guys were coming over and they're swiping at his arm, or he's finishing on the ground every play, and there's no calls, and we're still at zero, then I would say, okay, this is something we need to look at in terms of the officiating. But I can't do that today. And I hope Tracy Williams is hearing me out there some way, somewhere. I'm not, just blowing up the refs all the time. Yeah, Tech fans were not talking about Adams like that. They got to be 100. I hear you, Jeremy. I hear you. Drew, I do agree with that. I think this was even worse in terms of we knew, like, I feel like we all knew, even with the Arkansas thing for football, like what it was going to be. But this was even worse than Arkansas. But I agree, it was the same type of, you stepping into the jungle. Yeah, they had the young boys out there today, but they weren't. I didn't think they were terrible, but it's just like, damn, like who is this crew? Who is this crew? They sent out the replacements. Text better. 100. 100. Uh-oh. Here's a lie. Here's a lie. Here's a lie. This is everyone knew who the defensive coordinator was when Beard was at Tech. Everyone knew who the brains was behind it for sure. Then why are you so mad? If he was the brains the whole time and y'all are now telling me we're just fine with Mark Adams, why are you so mad? I will wait for your response because I knew one of y'all was going to fall for the bait. Why are you so mad? If this was the energy the whole time and this guy's always been the mastermind and he stayed, why are you so mad? Please answer the question, Texas Raider. Because that doesn't make sense to me. Because I got receipts from previous videos I've done before where the only name I ever heard coming out of Tech fans' mouths when we were going back and forth for the Big 12 years before, since I've been doing this channel, the only name I ever heard come out the mouth was Chris Beard. And that has nothing to do with what Mark Adams is doing, by the way. Mark Adams is doing a phenomenal job at Tech right now, all things considered. This has nothing to do with how good he is or isn't or whatever. Like, this has nothing to do with it. My question is, if you're going to sit up here and say, Mark Adams was always a guy, we always knew that, blah, 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 then why are you so mad that the other guy left? Why are you so mad that you guys are making it sound like Chris Beard was a figurehead? Thank you, King Jojo. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there's some cap going on. And I guarantee you, casual basketball fans were not talking about Mark Adams like that. Now, yeah, if you were in the Reddit groups and the message boards and you really, really die hard into hoops like that, yeah, you knew Mark Adams' contributions as a defensive coordinator. No doubt about it. Those aren't the people I'm talking. I'm talking about the broader fan base. Nobody was talking. Those are the people that are loud all over the place. Who was talking about Mark Adams? Please tell me. I'm gonna read here because I see some reactions coming in. Chris Beard made Tech fans come out. I appreciate some of y'all being real honest. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Some of y'all being honest. My man said he's a Tech student. Jeremy worked for the strength and conditioning program. There's people here being honest. There are people, Tech fans being honest in the spaces. Y'all saw the Facebook message I shared earlier from the young man who said, he took us to a Final Four. Like, he has my respect. Move on, right? Because Beard went radio silent, our AD was trying to keep him and left the day his spot expired, then tried to take Adams and his players with him. Okay. I buy this. That's fine. I'm not gonna dispute what my man said here on the comments. My thing is, at least you didn't say, well, Mark Adams was the mastermind the whole time. Because to me, now we're talking out of both sides of our mouths. So if you want to, this comment here is like, I'm mad because of the disrespect, basically. That's fine. That's fine. Hopefully, you guys are seeing the difference of what I'm talking about, though. Mark Adams is going to turn Tech into a new blood. I like that. Not mad to who he left to, mad the way he left or snuck out of town like a coward. Y'all are that's cap. I'm not trying to pick on you, Texas Raider, but to say that you're not mad on where he left to, bro, if Chris Beard's alma mater was Kansas State and he went to Kansas State, or even let's go one step further. Let's say he went to Kansas and Kansas was his alma mater. Everything stays the same. Y'all are not turning up like this. Texas factors into this heavily. Please be honest with yourself. It'll help this society. But to sit up here and say it's not who he left to, oh, it's not about the person. He went to the people that you hate the most. That matters. Just say it. Just say it. Like the Delroy Lindo clip, for those of you know what I'm talking about. You want to say it, say it. You want to say it? Go ahead and say it. Be honest. I hear you. You don't like the way he left. That's fine. But to sit up here and say, well, it's who he left, it's not who he left to. That's BS. BS. Yeah, acting like, oh, I would have been pissed. I would have turned up if he had left us for NC State to go to his alma mater. Come on now. He said Texas need to stop running from the smoke. I knew the other shoe was gonna drop, King Judge. I appreciate it. Drew, thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm not. Yeah, no other team would generate this type of. Come on, Texas has a big part of this, and to me, there's nothing wrong with admitting that. There's nothing wrong with admitting that. Uh-oh. Save this one for tomorrow, Michael Lynn. Save this one for tomorrow. That's dope. That's dope, Jeremy. Yeah, I sense Chris Beard. He seems like a good dude. It's gonna take some time because Texas basketball cultures. We're learning how to be a basketball program in 2022 and support the team. To be honest with you, our crowds have been better than they've been in years. I'll tell you that from what I've seen. Um, the fans that I associated with when I went to the game in Fort Worth versus TCU or on the road, record-setting crowd, by the way, for TCU. I guess that had nothing to do with Texas either, huh? It's not about who the school is, but we go to TCU, they sell out, largest crowd they've ever had. But the real fans knew. I said this earlier though. The real fans knew. But by the way, Mark Adams, we're here, but defense, right. But I said this earlier. The people that are like when I say the real, I'm talking about again the people that are dialed in, consuming content on the Reddit pages, constantly in discussions. Y'all are listening to the SB Nation podcast and you know Twitter Spaces. You're consuming basketball content. Those that's such a small subset of the greater fan base of everybody that's talking trash, right? And everybody that's been engaged in that. You can't tell me that all the people that were there going into the arena and all those type of stuff we're talking about and implying about, oh, blah blah blah, Mark Adams that guy. I, if that's the case, then they wouldn't have been. There wouldn't have been all this energy because you would have been like, yeah, I would have. We'll be fine with Mark Adams. You would have heard that, especially after he decided to stay and not get on the plane. All right, man. Now he's a nobody. As long as you can show me receipts. So I want to see all the receipts you had from all the years, including the national championship run, where you were giving all this credit to Mark Adams and not Chris Beard, and you knew it was him the whole time. Please show me your receipts. Other than that, we good. Show me your receipts. I see Oklahoma making the same argument right now with USC. Um, Relationships matter, and a lot of these kids. We always say the kids should recruit to the or commit to the school, but a lot of them do commit to the coaches. A lot of them commit to the coaches and have those relationships. Yeah, now Texas basketball, and this goes down to the high school level, by the way. It's a lot of great talent right now. And I say that as a guy that grew up in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area where I've always thought our basketball was as good. I got to my senior year of high school, Kevin Durant was a senior, and I got to watch him right down the street from me on a weekly basis, just destroy people. And Taiwan Lawson destroy people, and Michael Beasley destroy people, and they were all on the court at the same time. So when I was growing up in DC, like I always thought, oh, nobody else in the country, can really run with us like that. But I've been since moving to Texas these last few years, and Texas has been underrated basketball talent wise in terms of who comes out of this state. But these last few years, the state of Texas basketball wise, from the high school level up, Houston, Dallas, Central Texas, some really, really good hoopers that are being developed and coming through. I mean, look at the draft: Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green. Say less. My man Victor said he threw the receipts away by accident. All right, I got to get to bed. Drew, I graduated high school in 2006. I was the same high school class as KD. KD went to a school in our area that unfortunately they don't I don't think they have basketball anymore, but he played for Coach Stu Vetter at Montrose Christian High School. Him and I don't know if anybody here remembers this kid, but Grievous Vasquez, who was the point guard at Maryland. It was Kevin Durant and Grievous Vasquez at Montrose Christian. They were unbelievable, unbelievable my senior year. And I watched them beat Oak Hill at the buzzer, Oak Hill Academy. Best basketball game I've ever been to in my life in terms of just sheer talent. I watched them beat Oak Hill with Taiwan Lawson, who won a national championship at North Carolina, and Michael Beasley. That was an unbelievable basketball game. But KD, we knew then KD was just freaking different, pulling up from 30 even in high school. Tomorrow evening, most likely. We haven't gotten the time set just yet. It might be late because of schedules. People got kids and stuff, but it might be later. But I will be on. Mike Jones. Who? No, Mike Jones, dude. I remember when Mike Jones signed at Maryland. So Mike Jones was a big, big recruit for the University of Maryland at the time we were there. I remember all the hype around Mike Jones when he got there. Didn't pan out the way he should have. Grievous actually, that particular class at Maryland, Grievous was the one that actually ended up carrying the bag. Um, those were the last days of Coach Gary Williams. But man, guys, thank y'all so much for coming in and showing love. Make sure I hit that like button, and most importantly, subscribe. The more people, platform, everything. And I'm again, it just helps get this stuff out. I know it's therapeutic for me personally to get on these shows and talk about this stuff and discuss it as a passionate fan. It's my outlet. We all have very busy days, very stressful lives, so much stuff going on. So just having this platform, this outlet to discuss with you guys, it's awesome. Whether there's a bunch of Tech fans on here who are celebrating their win, again, congrats to them, awesome basketball team, Coach Mark Adams, the whole bit, or our own Texas fan base, I'm appreciative of it. So I appreciate you guys very, very much for always showing love. And final thank you to our sponsor, BUSR, busr.com/fanatic. Go check them out. We right now have the same promo code, Sports100FP. We are working on the Super Bowl promos, prop bets, whole bit for folks to jump on and take advantage of. So appreciate everybody that came on. I see all the messages here. Drew, thank you. TD Live, thank you. Means the world to me, right? So y'all remember, we gonna be all right, okay? Texas fans, Tech fans, congrats. Texas fans, y'all know what it is. Horns always up. Horns always up. Peace.